Okay. Second language acquisition. As I have started with the initial lecture, that means language teaching and learning has been a diversified phenomenon nowadays. So once upon a time, that means language teaching had been studied through the medium of GTM, that means grammar translation method. Now it has gone up to the post-method pedagogy, contextual perspectives and other perspectives. So second language teaching and learning has been diversified nowadays. And the second language learning phenomena cannot be termed in a very simple definition. It can be related to so many fields and genres nowadays. Okay. So we will try to have a look with the genres that are related to second language acquisition. Okay, we know the term that is acquisition. That is, acquisition means the subconscious way of learning anything. That means a child learns a language from his or her mother, from his or her father. That means from parents. Whenever a child learns a language, that is not the conscious learning. A child doesn't study the grammar. A child doesn't study the vocabulary. Child doesn't study the simple sentence structure and compound sentence structure and vice versa. So, unconsciously or subconsciously, a child picks a language. And I have said that there are nearly 3,500 live language, and these languages are difficult or easy in terms of vocabulary, sentence pattern are like that. Okay, but it is research that a child learns a language quite in the similar time. That means whatever may be the status of the language, it might be a difficult language on the basis of its format, just like French language. It might be easy language, like Bangla language. Whatever may be, it is observed that the children of most languages learn language in quite similar time and the duration of a quite similar time. It means that a child of Bangla language learn language within 2 years, and similar situation will be happening in case of a Chinese speaking child. Chinese language might seem to you quite difficult, but a child of Chinese language can also learn the language with the quite time framework, that means within the 2 years and half. Okay. So such kind of child learning is called acquisition. That means language acquisition. That means children acquire language spontaneously, naturally, without studying the grammatical rules, vocabulary and other jargon or repetition, as we see and as we do in a regular class like this. This is not actually language learning class, actually how to teach English language. Many of you will be the teacher, and for this reason, the way we learn a second language, that is different from the way children learn language. The adults learn language quite consciously. That sort of ways of learning a language is called language learning. So language learning is a tutored process through which an adult learner learns a language. Child learning, language learning is called language acquisition, and adult learning is called language learning. That is the difference between acquisition and learning. It is observed that if second language or the language acquisition process is followed by the adult learners, then it can also be effective. And so this course is titled in such a way that second language acquisition. If we take the definition confirm that second language we learn consciously, then the title of this course cannot be second language acquisition. So naturally and subconsciously, if a language is learned by an adult learner, language learner, that is called second language acquisition. So at the initial stage, we will be discussing the details about the acquisition. That means what is second language acquisition and what is second language learning. Okay. And SLA is a uniform phenomena that is related to so many fields and genres. Okay. So SLA is a product of many factors pertaining to the learner on the one hand and the learning situation on the other. Actually, language learning is not related to only for the basis of the learner. Okay. It is related to so many fields. In one way, the learner are responsible. In another way, the teachers or the instructor are responsible for delivering or for producing successful second language acquisition. So SLA, second language acquisition, can be effective from the both sides, from the learner sides and also from the teacher side or the instructor sides. So both issues will be described about here. From the learner's perspective, there are some several issues, and from the perspectives of the teachers, there are some other issues. And for this reason, it is said that SLA covers so many fields of second language teaching and learning. And in case of second language learning, okay, different learners in different situations learn L2 in different ways. There is no, suppose there are 30 students over there. You are getting education from the same teacher, Abdus. But the way you will understand the linguistic data is different. It's different in such a way that every individual learner learns language in their own way. His learning style is quite different to him, and her learning style is quite different to her. So there wouldn't be a uniform way of language teaching that can be equally important and effective for all sorts of learners. It means that there might be 30 students. Okay. So one way of teaching cannot be effective for all. Okay. And it is also true that in a teacher's 30 students, 30 different ways cannot be applied. So we should apply. But if we consider some issues relating to second language acquisition, that would be quite easy for second language acquisition. The term second language acquisition is used to refer to a general aspects. And here, this course will examine both the what seems to be variable and what is apparently variable about the process of acquisition. And second language acquisition vs first language acquisition. We have talked about this. That means language cannot, second language acquisition, adult learner can learn the way similar to a child. That means first language acquisition, that happens to a child, but for the adult, that would be the second language learning, that wouldn't be the second language acquisition. Okay, but research say that language learning, both for adults and both for children, if it becomes quite natural and spontaneous, then acquisition would be a good effect or good effective way of teaching second language. Let me make the idea clear. That means if we apply the children's second language learning, the first language learning process for the adult learners, that would be effective. And SLA research has tended to follow the footstep of L1 acquisition research, both in methodology and in many of the issues that it has created. Okay, so these are several issues of second language acquisition. We have talked about that. What is the meaning of second language acquisition? Second language acquisition means the way learning a second language after the first language is already established. That means the natural way we will be learning the second language acquisition. In this regard, Chomsky We have heard his name several times. Okay. Chomsky said that native speaking children would become fluent by the age of 10. You have picked wrong class, is it? Okay, no problem. He also argued that if children learn 2 languages from birth, they are more likely to be fluent in both. Chomsky actually believed in LED, that means language acquisition device. And Chomsky believed that, not only believed, believes still that language learning is a common phenomenon, a natural phenomenon. And a child learns language spontaneously. In Bangladesh, both father and mother, they are from one language. In this way, the children will learn Bangla language quite spontaneously. But if father becomes Bangla language speaking person, and if mother becomes English language speaking person or Hindi language speaking person, what will be happening to the child? মা ফ্রেঞ্চ ভাষা বলেন, বাবা হচ্ছে বাংলা ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজ। বাংলাটা কোন শিখবে? বাবা মা একসাথে থাকে। তাহলে যদি একটা চাইল্ড যার বাবা হলো বাংলা ভাষায় কথা বলে, যার মা হলো ফ্রেঞ্চ ভাষায় কথা বলে, ফর এক্সাম্পল, সো এই চাইল্ডের ক্ষেত্রে কি হবে? দুটো ভাষাই শিখবে, বাবার কাছ থেকে সে কি শিখবে? বাংলা ভাষা, এবং মার কাছ থেকে শিখবে কি ভাষা? ফ্রেঞ্চ ভাষা। So this child will learn both languages spontaneously. If it is so, that means এরকম না যে হচ্ছে মার ভাষা চাইনিজ হলে শিখবে, চাইনিজ ভাষা হলেও শিখবে। সেক্ষেত্রে they are made likely to be fluent in both. Okay, so Chomsky যাতে হচ্ছে আর কেউ বের হয়ে না যেতে পারে। Okay, so Chomsky said that yes, that means child learns language spontaneously. So in such a scenario, a child will be efficient and fluent in both language. And many persons, especially what is the second language acquisition, should different scholars, they have said many things about second language acquisition. And especially the second language, what is the definition of second language? We know. Actually English, naturally English not the second language. Second language, apart from the first language, any language might be the second language. Okay, and it depends on your necessity. Which language you will feel that I will be learning the second language. Suppose one of your relatives lives in Canada. So if you want to learn Spanish or French language, for you that it will be your second language. But if you want to learn English, then it will be your second language. But in case of Bangladesh, maximum cases for us that English is our second language. But the term definition is that apart from the first language, other language will be the second language. And what is the importance of second language acquisition? Why? Ability to identify and memorize new words. So if you learn second language, what is the necessity and what is the benefits the second language acquisition will be offering to you? Okay. So first thing is that you can ability to identify and memorize new words, ability to understand the function of particular words in sentence and ability to figure out your grammatical rules and memory of new words. And the successful language learners may be strong in all the component of aptitude. Aptitude means general ability. Okay. So if you learn, the Council for Europe, they have declared an issue that in every school in Europe, a student must learn a language apart from his or her first language. Why? Because it has been a necessity, and if a student or if a learner learns 2 or 3 languages, that will increase his or her ওকে অফিসে যোগাযোগ করতে বলো যে হচ্ছে দরজা লক অফিসে গিয়ে বলতে বলো যে দরজা লক হয়ে গেছে if it is does so in such a way every class after 2 the will automatically locked এই লকটা হচ্ছে আটকে গেলে তাড়াতাড়ি খোলা যেতে হবে So these are the characteristics of second language acquisition. That there are the benefits, that means you will also be offering. Here Skinner, another linguist, he said that language acquisition should be explained by mechanism of operant conditioning. Operant conditioning, that will be explained in the next class as well. But before that, operant conditioning is a technique that can be used to target and increase the behavior by pairing performance. That means everybody will have a ability. Apart from the general ability, he or she will try to accept the greater language learning platform. That is called operant conditioning. Yeah, behaviorist theory. Whenever we will be discussing behaviorist theory. ওটা ইয়ে করে হ্যাঁ ওটা আটকাই দাও একদম মানে যেন লাগাইতে না পারে কেউ You will come late, and for this reason the door was locked. Okay, so that is Skinner. Skinner has said out actually that means we learn language based on their behavior. If we are confident enough, then we will learn a language very quickly. And if we are not confident enough, if we come late in the class, then we will get language less quickly. Okay, so there are several stages of second language acquisition. Actually, in case of first language acquisition, the child learns language in a quite similar way. In the same way, the second language will be acquired following this stage. That is, first stage is pre-production, and this is the silent period. And second stage, early production. That means first of all, the child learns Baba, the common words, not. This stage may last after 6 months, and the student will develop a receptive and active vocabulary of about 1,000 words. Third stage is the speech emergence. That means first of all, second stage, the child will receive the sound. They don't understand the meaning of the sound. Just what they will produce, what they will hear. And the third stage, they will try to immerse and produce some sounds. And the fourth stage, intermediate fluency, that will cover up with up to 1 year to 3 years or 2 years. And fifth stage, the advanced fluency, that means up to 6, 5 or 7 years. They will have the fluency that they can speak any sort of speeches. That is the 5 stages of second language acquisition. And why it is important to learn a second language? Okay. First thing is that it needs no telling that if you learn second language apart from your mother language, do you know how many people are there? That means how many people of the world speak Bengali? Bangladesh and West Bengal. That means more than 30 to 40 crores people speak Bengali. So if you speak Bengali language, your surrounding and the communication will be the 40. That means not 1/10 of the world population. If you learn Hindi language, then you can communicate with the people living in India. That means 100 crores you have to go out. And if you learn Chinese language, then again you will be picked up 150 crores. And if you learn English language, then you will also be covered. That means at present 60% of the world population, they can communicate fluently in English language. So in such a way, speaking second language is covering our communication belt. So as many languages as you learn, your communication capabilities will be enriched with so many languages communications. And another thing is that the culture, many things. Actually, whenever you will be meeting with the culture, that means in this country, if you say, "Hi, salam, how are you? Good morning." Okay, that means anybody will be startled. That means in our culture, we don't call our teachers with the first name. But in the Western countries, the European countries, they will be calling their first name. Hi, Robert. Robert Williams, they will be calling their, okay. I said to my professor that I will be calling you sir. Oh no, don't call me sir. Then I can say, Highness. No, that is attributed to the royal kings and queens. Okay. So that is their culture. So whenever you will be collecting people with so many languages, you will also be connected to their culture. In this regard, another thing happens. That is, there is a cultural shock and also cultural integration. And case of other theories will be living there. If you accept the target language country's culture, language learning will be accelerated. If you get cultural shock, then language learning will not be effective. And then the target language country's culture, if the culture shock, then language learning will be a bit slow. It is research that cultural integration and cultural recreation, that is called integration and recreation. Cultural model of language teaching says so, that is, if you integrate, if you accept the target language country's culture heartily, your language learning will be. So, second language acquisition will make you connect not only the people of other countries, it will connect you to the people of other cultures, because language carry culture. And also your personal experience of culture will be enhanced when you open yourself to the possibilities another language offers. Okay, so that is integration and recreation. If you regret other culture, your language learning will also be regretful. That means not successful. And the principle of second language learning, it is dependent on input and output condition. As I have said that actually you are here in 25 students. 25 students will not be accepting the language in the quite similar way. Another terms are also responsible for second language acquisition. What is the terms? Input and output. In case of the computer study, we have learned that mouse and keyboard are the input devices. And output devices? Monitor and a screen. Okay, so in case of second language acquisition, input and output are interrelated. Input should be found. What is the input? Input is the linguistic data. In case of second language acquisition, input is the linguistic data you accept from formal or informal situation. Formal situation, that means the classroom. Informal situation, outside. With your friends, with the relatives, or someone else. Okay. So whatever may be the scenario, there should be an linguistic input. Without input, output will not. In case of writing capabilities, reading should be the input. Fine-tuned reading. If you read good books, have you seen the Harry's first book is Spare? After the publication, it has sold 14 lakhs. Prince Harry, yeah? Yes. Prince Harry, living UK, he is living in US, and he has written his Bible, and it has really, it is Spare. So Spare or Spare? S-P-A-R. S-P-A-R. If you read that book, your writing will be good, because that reading will be the input to you. That is, according to Stephen Cashin, it is called comprehensible input. So how your speaking will be good? If you watch English notes, if you watch the speech of Martin Luther King, okay, and if you listen speech, if you listen English song, if you listen target language song, or any kind of newspaper or news in target. What does it mean? English news, English speech, movies will be the input for your speaking. If you pass much time watching movies, your speaking will be so input should be important. Okay, whether it may be formal or informal. So what is the input then? Input is the linguistic data that you expect. For the output, some factors are related. These are the factors. First one, motivation. In case of motivation, there are two kinds of motivations. Yeah. If you laugh at the time of learning, then you are motivated. If you feel bored at the time of learning, then you are not open to receiving the linguistic data. Okay. How you are motivated? Motivation are of two kinds. One, intrinsically motivated and extrinsically. Intrinsic motivated, that means this motivation will result you no monetary benefit. You want to learn language, that means you want to study the literature of the target language. আপনি ভাষা শিখতে চান ভালোভাবে, কারণ আপনি ইংরেজি পত্রিকা পড়তে চান। আপনি ইংরেজি ভাষা শিখতে চান কারণ আপনি ইংরেজি নভেল পড়তে চান। These are called intrinsic motivation, কারণ এটার পিছনে আপনার কোনো monetary benefit নাই। But if you want to do a master's, then after doing the master's, you will get a promotion. Okay? You will get immigration to an English speaking country. You will get higher salary after completing get the promotion. Okay? These are called extrinsic motivation. And with the motivation, you will be monetary or any way you will be benefited after studying this language. That is called extrinsic motivation, and other motivation is called intrinsic. Whatever may be the motivation play vital role. As I have said, that there is no similar way of learning second language. You can say that, yeah, I will learn it. That is about attitude. Okay, he can speak good English. I can't. But if you are demotivated, oh, I can't speak good English, it will not be done for you. If you suffer from inferiority complex, then your English learning journey will not be successful. Any learning journey. So motivated is important, at the sometimes attitude or personality is also important. You can take it as a challenge. Oh, he can do it within 1 hour, I can do it 1 month, whatever. So what? But I will do it. If you think that I will do it, then you can do it. So, getting finer input, if you are motivated, if your personality is very good, if your personality is positive, if your mentality is open to accept new challenges and to accept and to execute the new challenges, then you are open to have challenges in your life and your language learning or output would be successful. If not, that is called closed motivation. That term is there over there. Cognitive style. Intelligence is, according to Chomsky, that is, it depends on not for your practice. That means he said that in our human brain we have God gifted ability to learn a language, and we have a GT, universal grammar in your brain. That means intelligence that may vary to you. If you are not intelligent enough, then there's nothing to do it. But many persons say that, yeah, actually it's for behavior, like Skinner. Cognitive style. Cognitive style, some person understand a thing very quickly and some person do not. Okay, so it depends on their cognitive style, in which way they will understand. Okay, many things. Intelligence হচ্ছে general ability of intellectual, মানে আপনার বুদ্ধি, আপনি একটা জিনিস কিভাবে বুঝতেছেন সেটাই হচ্ছে আপনার ইন্টেলিজেন্স। কারণ একটা জিনিস কয়েকবার শুনেও কেউ বুঝতে পারে না, কেউ একবার শুনেই বুঝতে পারে। এটা হলো গড গিফটেড অ্যাকর্ডিং টু নর্ম চমস্কি, যে আপনার ব্রেন ভালো, বলে না যে আপনার ব্রেন ভালো, এই জন্য আপনি কোনো একটা জিনিস ভালোভাবে বুঝতে পারেন। আবার কেউ হয়তো একটা জিনিস কয়েকবার শুনেও বুঝতে পারে না, এটা হচ্ছে তার ইন্টেলিজেন্স, যে ইন্টেলেকচুয়াল প্রপার্টি। ওকে, তো হ্যাঁ, অ্যাপটিটিউড হলো যোগ্যতা। আপনি you have an aptitude to carry a load of 10 kgs, 20 kgs. But if you pull that one, okay, it is not in your aptitude. So aptitude means আপনি চিন্তা করে I will be learning 500 languages. It is not in your aptitude. It is not in your aptitude. So what you desire, it should be in your aptitude, in your general aptitude. আপনার ক্ষমতার মধ্যে থাকতে হবে। হ্যাঁ, you can desire that I will be learning 15 languages. Okay, you can do so. Okay, that is the general ability. The general ability is called aptitude. Cognitive style and personality. This, so we were in a position that language data or input should be there, and after getting input, you have to have command over such kind of scenarios. That is motivation, intelligence, aptitude, and also cognitive. Then your output will be good. And also, these are the key factors. That means second language learning. We know that the vocabulary, grammar, inference of the mother language. Okay, this term will also be discussed over here. Some people think that first language is a hindrance for learning second language. But some person think that first language is helpful for learning the second language. There are two opinions regarding this, and the interference of first language in the second language learning is called interference. Okay, either it may be positive, either it may be negative. That is, and self-efficacy and motivation, and these factors are the vitals in case of second language acquisition. Another linguist is Stephen Krashen. He has said about the natural approach of second language learning, and here Krashen said that perhaps no one has looked at the question more closely than the linguist Stephen Krashen, who has introduced some of the most influential concepts of the study of second language acquisition. Actually, second language acquisition, that the term proposed first by Stephen Krashen, American educationist, he said that language learning should be learned in the natural ways. So previously some linguists say about the natural approach, but Stephen Krashen described it more effectively, that there are several hypotheses in Stephen Krashen's second language learning or acquisition phenomena. And for this reason, Stephen Krashen is the first person who described second language acquisition in a quiet way with his theory, that is the monitor model, that we will read next time in this class. What is the benefit of second language learning? Enhanced problem solving skill, improved verbal and spatial abilities, improved memory function, enhanced creative thinking, better memory, more flexible and creative thinking. These are the benefits that if you learn second language, whether it may be in acquisition or by acquisition or through learning. What are the two essential elements in second language acquisition? Fluency and accuracy. You have to be fluent, at the same time you have to be accurate. These are the
sorry, you want to know there is স্থান সংক্রান্ত লেখা.
Yeah.
So is it স্থান সংক্রান্ত of a human body or regional or cultural?
Regional স্থান মানে spatial pronunciation is spatial. Not special.
Space থেকে মনে হয়।
Space. What are the barriers of second language acquisition? এতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত অনেক বেনিফিট শুনলাম, ওকে? What are the barriers? First thing is that psychological barriers. আমাকে দিয়ে কিচ্ছু হবে না, এই ব্যারিয়ার্সটা অন্য দিক থেকে আসে, এই তোকে দিয়ে কিচ্ছু হবে না। So your kinds of barriers, if you do not have stimulus, পরবর্তীতে আমরা শিখব behavior theory. So psychological barrier will be there. That means you are not motivated from within or outside. অনেকে রিভিউ করে এই তোকে দিয়ে কিছু হবে, তখন হচ্ছে লেস কনফিডেন্ট হয়ে যায় আপনার। So psychology is a barrier if you are not psychologically motivated. And the didactic one, that means উপদেশমূলক, অনেকে উপদেশ দেয় এটা করো এটা করো, কিন্তু সেই উপদেশই যদি তুমি নাও, সেটাকে যদি এক্সারসাইজ না করো, তাহলে সেই সেটা সাইকোফিজিওলজিক্যাল, মানুষ দৈহিক কেমন? ইফ ইউ ডু ফিজিক্যাল এক্সারসাইজ ডেইলি, আপনার শরীর ভালো থাকে, বাট ইট ইজ অলসো সেড দ্যাট আপনার মনও ভালো থাকে। So there is a link between psychology and physics. So if you are mentally fit, then your action will done half done. যদি আপনি ভালোভাবে শুরু করতে পারেন, তাহলে আপনার কর্ম অর্ধেকটা শেষ হয়ে যায়। এই জন্য বলা হয় যে if you are psychologically motivated, then your brain will support you, your mind will support you, your mind will open to accept new things, your mind will open to learn a new language. So the reason that if you are not motivated, then it will problem that আপনার হাত কাজ করছে না, পরীক্ষার খাতায় লিখতে পারছে না, ঠিক আছে, প্র্যাকটিস করতে পারছেন না, ফিল করো, স্যার প্র্যাকটিস করতে বলছে বা কথা বলতে বলছে, ওকে সো হার্ড আই উইল বি লিটিং। সো ইফ ইউ আর নট মোটিভেটেড, যদি আপনি মোটিভেটেড, হ্যাঁ আমাকে করতেই হবে, দেন এই সিগন্যালটা গিভ অ্যালার্ম টু ইউর ব্রেন that you have to do. And if your brain get alarmed, then you can do the thing very quickly. Okay? And also linguistic, social adaptation as I have said, socially, and competence, just like intelligence or the aptitude. You have to have competence. That means what you want to do. আকাশ চুম্বি একটা স্বপ্ন নিয়ে যখন যাত্রা শুরু করলেন, তখন স্বপ্ন ভঙ্গের পরিমাণ কম হবে এবং you will be frustrated. So you have to do it within your competence, and if you have competence, then you can overcome that. And the social adaptation, that means you have to adapt. That means কি হবে এত রাত পর্যন্ত বাইরে থেকে ইংরেজি প্র্যাকটিস করে এই কথাটাকে ওভারকাম করতে হবে। ওকে, যদি এই সোশ্যাল ইন্টিগ্রেশনটা থাকে, দেন দিস আর দ্য ব্যারিয়ার্স and you can be successful. Okay. যেটা হিরো আলমের আছে। তাই নাকি? কোনটা? হ্যাঁ, ওটাকে আকাশ চুম্বি হচ্ছে, কিন্তু উনি তো হচ্ছে না, উনি তো হতাশ হচ্ছে না। আমি বললাম যে আকাশ চুম্বি যদি আপনার ড্রিম হয়, আপনার স্বপ্ন যদি বেশি হয়, তাহলে স্বপ্ন ভঙ্গের পরিমাণও বেশি হবে, দ্যাট উইল মেক ইউ ফ্রাস্ট্রেটেড। বাট ইন কেস অফ হিরো আলম, হি বিকামস দ্য ফ্রাস্ট্রেশন। Okay, so the second language acquisition via spoiled language acquisition, I think it's not to be discussed earlier, you know, that is spoiled language acquisition. The centrality of syntax and morphology. In case of second language acquisition, syntax and morphology will be there. You have to understand the sentence pattern, and you have to understand the structure pattern of a language. And in case of every language, there is a common phenomena. There will be a deep structure and there will be a surface structure. So starting second language, you have to go through this such kind of syntax. কারণ প্রত্যেকটা ভাষার মধ্যে কি আছে? sentences. So if you study according to Chomsky, that there is a root. Next class we will discuss it. There is a similarity among all languages. In every language there will be word, vocabulary will be there, and also there will be sentence. But those sentence pattern are quite similar. That is called root development. Okay, so centrality of syntax and morphology. You have to understand the sentence if you want to learn language, any language other than your first language. Okay. And competence-based performance, now Chomsky also comes up with these two terms. Competence means the ability. A distinction is often competence here. It's written exactly in a competence consists of the mental representation of linguistic gross. That is competence. Mental representation of linguistic roles. That is competence. In case of writing glossary or in case of writing any question answers, if you put it in such a way, that means you have to paraphrase it. Okay, understanding the sentence, you have to write it in your own language or own words. That is called paraphrasing. So, competence is consists of the mental representation of linguistics or linguistical roles or data. That is called. And performance consists of the comprehension and production of language. You know how he or she can perform. So competence in ability and performance is performance. Okay, that means the production of the target language. Okay, so if you are competent well, then your performance will be good. So there is a linkage between competence and performance. How you can enhance your competence through overcoming the barriers that we have studied earlier. So these are the competence and performance. Acquisition vs learning. Okay, we will not discuss about that. So, to summarize, the second language acquisition refers to the subconscious or unconscious processes by which a language other than the mother tongue is learned. A natural or a tutored setting. Natural setting, not in the classroom. Tutored setting in the classroom. It covers the development of phonology, lexis, that means sentence with meaning, language with meaning, grammar, pragmatic knowledge, but has been largely confined to the morphosyntax. The process manifests both variables and invariable features. So the study of SLA directed at accounting for the learner's competence, but in order to do so, has set out to investigate empirically how a learner performs when he or she uses a second language. So these are the phenomena of second language acquisition. So many things are related to second language acquisition, and the other things, that is the first language acquisition, that I have said initially, that first language will be a hindrance or will be beneficial for second language learning. And whether it may be, that means it may be positive effect, may have positive effect, or it may have negative effect. If first language has any effect for second language learning, it is called language transfer, or it is called interference. Okay. So that is called language transfer. Research said many things, whether first language will be helpful or barrier in case of learning second language. Okay, so when we will be discussing in details, we will get the analogy. But at present, you will see that in case of learning second language, the first language plays vital role. Either it may be play positive or negative role. Okay, that is called. And whether first language will be a barrier, that can be studied through some analysis. That is called contrastive analysis and other sort of analysis, that is longitudinal analysis. So analyzing the errors, we can understand that whether first language will be beneficial or barrier for second language learning. Another thing of language learning is natural route of development. That means every language follows a specific pattern. According to Chomsky, it is called the natural pattern. Ami bhat khai. প্রথমে কি আমি subject, তারপরে ভাত, তারপরে খাই. Okay. I eat rice. Okay. So in such a way, every language will be following a similar pattern of sentence and structure. This similar pattern structure of every language is called root learning. So in case of language learning, if you develop your root, that means your language learning will be beneficial. So that is called root development, and it is prescribed by many language learners, that is that you have to develop the root through which a language can be learned. Okay. And this root learning development can be researched by L2 L1 hypothesis. That means L1 refers to first language and L2 refers to a second language. And you can have the analogy whether first language will be helpful or not. You can also understand by analyzing the errors of second language. And another study is called longitudinal study. Okay, so it is a type of study through which we can also understand the errors of a second language learner, and the method that helps learners to study variable and accounts of quantitative and quantitative data for the research sample. Okay, that means repeatedly examines some individuals to select. Suppose you are 25 students, that means 25 students, I can give you a sentence test, and you are doing some things. And again, if the same group is sit for another kind of test, and if I want to observe that suppose আপনারা সিম্পল সেন্টেন্সের ব্যবহারটা ভালো করতে পারছেন, সেকেন্ড টাইমে আবার আমি বললাম যে আপনারা কমপ্লেক্স সেন্টেন্সের ব্যবহারটা করতে পারতেছেন কিনা, একই গ্রুপের মধ্যে যখন এই ধরনের গবেষণা করা হয় সেটাকে বলা হয় লংগিটিউডনাল হাইপোথেসিস বা কেস স্টাডি। হয়তো বা এরকম হতে পারে যে এই গ্রুপের মধ্যে 80% সিম্পল সেন্টেন্সে ভালো ছিল, আর সেকেন্ড গ্রুপে দেখা গেল যে কমপ্লেক্স সেন্টেন্সে হয়তো বা 40% ভালো করেছে। So such kind of study can be called longitudinal case study. So that is also two kinds of hypotheses. Contextual variation in language learner. Okay. Language learner contains error. Two are human. In case of second language acquisition and learning, error will come naturally. But in case of SLA, second language error acquisition, error analysis plays very vital role. So error, if we can understand that error, আমরা জানি কোন জায়গাগুলোতে এরর হয়। সেন্টেন্স সাবজেক্ট ভার্ব এগ্রিমেন্টে শিক্ষার্থীরা ভুল করে। আবার আমরা দেখতে পারি যে অনেকে হচ্ছে সেন্টেন্স স্ট্রাকচারে ভুল করে। সেন্টেন্স স্ট্রাকচার যখন হচ্ছে সিম্পল সেন্টেন্স লিখতে পারে বা কমপ্লেক্স সেন্টেন্স লিখতে পারে। অনেকে দেখা যায় যে প্রথমে শুরু করেছে আই স্মল লেটার, কিন্তু আবার অনেকে আবার এরকম যে মিস্টেকগুলো হয় সেই মিস্টেকগুলোর উপরে ভিত্তি করে ইউ ক্যান prescribe the linguistic data. If we see that these students can make mistakes in case of something agreement, then we have to understand how I have to teach them. It means that through the error analysis we can understand the scenario of a current group of teachers and we can do so. So error analysis is a way of effective second language acquisition. And contextual variation of language, this is about second language acquisition phenomena, and we have discussed second language acquisition and phenomena. Second language acquisition vs first language acquisition, the centrality of syntax and morphology, competence vs performance, acquisition vs learning, the role of first language, the natural root development, the contextual variation in language learner. Would you please take your exercise book and write the term over here. যে কয়টা টার্ম এখানে লেখা আছে, and if you have any question now